I love Horton Spillers, but I also like Sukiyana. So I
Right,
want to make
right.
sure that I amplify both of them because both of their work influences my work.
Finally have a conversation with you. We've been fans of each other on IG for a minute.
Yes.
Mutual shared love for femme of color aesthetics, for Black femme aesthetics, and the celebration of Black femme cultures. So I would love to open with maybe you sharing for our audience a little bit about the work that you do on digital misogynoir and maybe some of the scholarship that you're currently completing as you're getting ready to defend your dissertation later this year.
Yes. So I originally started my master's program. This was a while ago in the English department because I have a bachelor's degree in poetry and linguistics. But I studied like code switching. I was really interested in like
Mm.
AAVE and just really studying like Black vernacular English. But when I got into my master's program at Bowie State, I was really interested in just like social media, but I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
sure exactly like what I was interested in. So um my advisor at the time suggested that I switch to the communications program because they would be able to better support me in the work that I was trying to do. During all
Mm-hmm.
of this, I experienced my own instance with digital misogynoir slash online trolling and online harassment. And it made me think about other Black women in films. And I was wondering, like, if I've experienced this and I've reported the page and I've done all these things and it didn't really help, I wonder how other
Mm.
Black people, Black women in particular, are experiencing it and like do they feel like Twitter's like dropping the ball to protect them? So I end up doing a case study around Leslie Jones and how she was treated on Twitter during the Ghostbusters release. And then I did a focus group in DC because that's where I was living at the time. And the focus group was so interesting because so many of the Black women in the focus group talked about how they loved being on Twitter for the community aspect, but they hated the fact that it was so easy for them to be targets of violence and how like
Mm-hmm.
they felt like Twitter didn't do anything. So I was very ambitious in my master's program and I was like, I'm going to change Twitter's safety policy guidelines. Child, when I got into that, when I got into my PhD program and I started reading work and like really like investigating digital violence is what I called it at the time. And then I finally came across the term misogynoir that really like
Mm-hmm.
summed up what I was looking at. I realized
Mm-hmm.
that I really didn't give, can I cuss?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I really didn't give a fuck about what Twitter was going to do to protect us. I was more so interested in how are we protecting ourselves? Like, what are we doing as
Mm.
harm reduction
Mm-hmm.
tactics? And I had read Gwendolyn Pugh's Check It While I Wreck It. And she talked about this idea of bringing rec, which is like pushing back against like ideologies and like this idea of just like pushing back as a Black woman. And it made me think of clapping back. And I was like, I want to be the scholar that theorizes clapping back and talking about how Black women in films clap back and create harm reduction online. So that's like the long story of how I got to my work. But it was an interesting journey because, like, at one point, like I said earlier, I really believed in my heart of hearts that I was going to work at Twitter and I was going to
Right,
change Twitter's
right.
safety and policy guidelines. And then when I got into my PhD program and I started talking to other digital humanities scholars and just other Black feminists and womanists and people who had been in the field longer than I have and had did different readings than I had done, I realized that like if I would have continued that down that path, I would have been burnt out and it would have been I wouldn't have been fulfilled with the work that I was doing because I would have been so focused on this white place and space, which is Twitter, and so concerned about what they're doing that I'm overlooking how Black women have always created harm reduction, how Black women have always protected each other and built community in so many different counterpublics. So
I think it's really, really cool that you not only study social media, but you are an active creator on social media with your Misogynoir in 60 Seconds. Can you talk a little bit about how you came to starting that series that I think began on TikTok? Am I right about that? Or was that, yeah,
yes.
began on TikTok. So maybe if you can tell the story of how you came to it and then like what the responses have been in relation to this. I would love to hear a little bit more about it, and I will definitely make sure to edit some into our episode too.
This week, I'm going to be talking about digital misogynoir, which is what I study in my PhD program and the research that I have been doing for the past decade. I look at how Black women are experiencing misogynoir on social media websites such as Twitter. 3 ways that Black women experience misogynoir on Twitter are through targeted harassment. That's people directly targeting them, trolling them, calling them names, disparaging things, posting pictures of them, making fun of them whenever they share an opinion or post a photo of themselves. The second thing is doxing, which is sharing someone's personal information without their permission. That can be their address, phone number, where they work or where they live, and even where they go to school. And the third thing is embarrassing your partner online for pranks. A lot of people post pranks and they think it's funny, but a lot of these pranks can be very, very mean-spirited and can cause a lot of harm towards Black women. Awesome. Yeah. So, you know what's wild? Like, I don't remember what instant, because I can't remember what my very first one was. But what I do remember is that whatever that topic was, people were talking about it, but they were not identifying it as misogynoir. And in that moment, I was like, oh fuck no. I said I have to say something because people are not realizing that this has a name. Like, we need to call a thing a fucking thing. Right? So the purpose of Misogynoir in 60 Seconds, especially in this creation, was to make sure I was pointing people to actual real life examples of misogynoir so it could become a term that is that is used more, and also a term that is more like accessible and digestible to the masses. Because one of the things that like I really want my scholarship to do is I want it to be accessible to everyone. I tell people all the time, like, I come from a family of people who, most if not all of my family, either has a high school education or does not have a high school education. Most of them did not go to college. Most of them have, experienced hardships, have been incarcerated, have experienced poverty, all of these things. So when I'm in this privileged space like academia, I know that like people talk above people's heads all the time. And I want to make sure that I keep my scholarship at least accessible as possible. I want my family members to be able to watch Misogynoir in 60 Seconds and be like, oh, that's what that is. I know what that is. I've seen that in my community. And the response for the Misogynoir in 60 Seconds surprisingly has been really like welcoming. At first, like, of course there were some naysayers that were like, oh, I don't think that's misogynoir, blah blah blah. Like, I did one on like Sukiyana and like when she had got sexually assaulted, and she was being like sexually harassed, and someone got in the comments, and of course it was a non-Black person, got in the comments and was like, if she's gonna rap about this stuff, why is she acting surprised that people are going to like sexually like exploit her? And I was just like, I literally responded, I was like, you're on the wrong person's page, because me and you are not like, you clearly don't know what the fuck is going on here. So outside of that, it's been a really like warm and welcoming. A lot of people have like messaged me privately and like told me like it's really helped them better understand it because they didn't know what it was called. I've had a lot of Black women and femmes let me know that like it allowed them to kind of rethink experiences that they had that they didn't know what it was, but now they know that it was misogynoir. And then I've gotten some really dope opportunities. So thanks to my Misogynoir in 60 Seconds, for Glitch UK, which is a charity in the UK that focuses on online gender-based violence, they created a digital misogynoir report, and they had me do an explainer series explaining their report just because they really liked my Misogynoir in 60 Seconds. It was featured on Girls United, which is like an offshoot of Essence magazine. So like I've gotten a lot of really like cool like recognition for doing
Yes.
it. And I'm really hoping that like in the future, once I'm done with this damn dissertation, I can like put more effort into the production of Misogynoir 60 seconds and then
Mhm.
possibly make some more long form videos about Misogynoir, because I think that like people are interested in the topic. I think that people want to talk about these things. They just don't know where to begin, and they may not feel like they are knowledgeable enough to talk about it, but they are. Like Black women have that subjugated knowledge. Like we know what Misogynoir is. The moment we pop out
Exactly.
of our the moment we pop out of our mama's pussy, like we are going to experience Misogynoir. So I think that my Misogynoir 60 seconds is a great like short way to like inform and create a foundation for what Misogynoir is for those who may not know.
No, definitely. And there's something about, like you said, like this is knowledge already that is had, but when you can put a name to it, you can start to sort of connect these patterns. And I think like with all the recent attacks on academia and terms like intersectionality, right, and critical race theory, and I would add, you know, they don't mention misogynoir because they don't know it yet. I'm sure that would be on the list. That clearly there's power to the terms being accessible, right? That there's a way in which it sort of explains a phenomenon that people can then understand is like a power structure that's collective, that can be sort of put into a larger framework. So I love that you sort of hold those together, that kind of critical scholarship, but also creative use of social media as a form of practice as well. So I love that, and I'm sure that many Black femmes are feeling affirmed by the work that you're doing. So this video podcast is called Femme Study, and here we celebrate femme culture and take it seriously and understand it as a practice of joy. One question I have for you is, can you talk about how femininity informs your life and work? And here,
Yes.
femininity is an open-ended construct, like whatever that means to you.
Yeah, so I identify as a non-binary femme, and I came to step into that gender identification and just that portion of who I am as a person through my PhD program, through reading a
Mm,
lot of Black feminist and womanist texts, and just having conversations with other folks in the community, and just better understanding myself. And I think that learning that I can use my femininity, well, I can firstly that I can create my own femininity that's outside of the box. That was the first thing that I
right,
realized.
right.
And then being able to use that femininity to create safe spaces for other Black femmes to feel like I could be a home for them, to feel like
Mm-hmm,
I can help them find their own political homes, has really
mm-hmm,
been like beneficial for me. And I love like I love being a girl's girl. Like I always say that, like I am
mm-hmm.
like I like being one of the girls. I like being in community with other Black women and femmes and other brown women and femmes. And I like being able to um really just like remix what femininity looks like. Like for me,
Right.
I like to dress comfortably, right? So like a lot of the clothing that I wear is very much so giving sporty spice, but I always like to
Uh-huh.
throw a really cute bag with it or some quirky earrings, or I'll beat my face and have on like a
I've seen
hoodie
your
and some
nails.
spanks.
I've
Yeah, and
seen
my
your
nails.
nails.
Yeah, so like
Yes.
I'm very like I use like my nails and my hair and my makeup and just my swag, I guess you would say, to really express that like you
Mm-hmm.
can create your own femininity. And I think that like being an instructor in the gender, sexuality, and women's studies department, which is a department that I really love at my university, has allowed me to really show my students what femininity can look like when you are pushing the
Mm.
boundary and also when you're pushing the binary, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
think that for
Mm-hmm.
me, that's like how femininity works for me. And I think that that really informs not only how I show up for myself, but it also informs how I show up for my community and the youth, and also the young people in my life and in my family.
Yes, definitely, right. There is this way in which there's a kind of body pedagogy that happens. And you know, it's interesting because you know, not unfortunately, not all women's and gender studies spaces are
Yeah.
safe. It sounds like you're in a really productive one, but there was this recent you know, dynamic that happened where one of our grad students was at their defense and wore like a bodycon dress, and I wasn't at that defense, but apparently they were judged for how they were dressing by someone on their committee. And as the student was recounting the story, she was telling me how like her outfit was inspired by me, right? And it's like, you wear these, and like I'm thinking it's all good. So like it's crazy to think of how we step into these spaces as ourselves, but it's not always safe. It's not always safe for us, and it's not always safe for other people. But it's so important to sort of be there to show, like, even if you get the hate, like, you know, the defense still passed, like it's all good,
Yeah.
right? Like she's going to continue and do her own thing, but that there still is this kind of shaming that follows
Mm-hmm.
femininity, especially in academic spaces where it's like not valued. So who are some femmes that you study and why?
Yes. Okay. So I am a scholar that studies everything, and I look at
Mm-hmm.
everything as scholarship.
Yes.
So I would say I'm gonna always start with what radicalized me. When I
Mm-hmm.
was 9 years old, I was introduced to I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou, and I was introduced to
Mm-hmm.
Ego Trippin', which is a poem by Nikki Giovanni, and that radicalized me. That blew me out the water. I said, "Oh, this what the fuck we on? Yes, sign me up." And from there,
Mm-hmm.
moving forward, I really immersed myself into poetry, and I became a poet. And I used my poetry as a way to connect to my femininity, but also just to connect to my people. And as I got older, I found that I was really interested in stories about Black women, especially in the 1950s and 1960s. So I love books like The Street, and I love books like Their Eyes Are Watching God. So like Zora Neale
Mm-hmm.
Hurston and writers
Mm-hmm.
like Audre Lorde were like a big influence to
Mm-hmm.
me.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when she talks about anger and using the erotic, like those things were very interested to me.
Yes.
Um, as far as like music goes, because music is very important to me, I would say like artists like Lil Kim and Missy Elliot,
Mm-hmm.
and artists like Megan Thee Stallion now. Those are artists that I can say I study them. I study how
Yes.
Megan Thee Stallion talks about her life and her music. I study how Lil Kim talks about her life and her music. I study how Missy Elliott creates these worlds with her performances and her videos and just her style and her swag, and it really informs my research. And then I love me a problematic fave. So some of my favorite problematic faves, her name is Mona. She has a podcast called Don't Call Me White Girl. You probably seen
Uh-huh.
her videos before. She has a video where she was like, why you being weird to me? I don't know if you remember that video where she was talking
No,
about
I need to find her.
yeah, so she had a couple videos go viral. She had one going viral where she was talking about how she had a surprise pap smear, and she was like, why you ain't tell me this pussy was not pap smear ready? And then she had another video where she was talking about how she had sex with someone and they had pulled her frontal back and they had choked her, and she was like, I'm in love with you now. So like, why are you being weird to me? So like, she's someone there. She's a femme that I study because I think she's a good example of someone who is trying to unlearn the internalized misogynoir and like toxic masculinity that a lot of Black women who grow up in very like urbanized areas of the hood, what we're
Mm-hmm.
exposed to.
Mm-hmm.
And also like Cardi B, like her and Cardi B are some of my problematic faves because you can literally watch them unlearning in real time, which is interesting to me because I'm constantly unlearning in real time.
Totally.
Um,
Totally.
and like Moya Bailey, of course, the creator of Misogynoir and I Am Trudy, like those are two people who
Sure.
I love their writing, I love their work. It informs everything that I do, and Gwendolyn Pugh and Regina Bradley and Joan Morgan with hip hop feminism and Cecily Bowen with trap feminism. Like all of these people have been really influential to my research and have really made me think about how I can incorporate everything into my research. So I think about like podcasts that I listen to, I think about music that I listen to, I think about fashion houses, clothing. I do love me some Beyonce, so I think about like Beyonce's work ethic, which is very like influential in the work that I do. All of these films really influence the work that I do. Like they really do influence me. And one person who I love down, like I don't know what it is about them, but just something about them really gets me going, is Sexyy Red.
Oh, I love Sexyy Red.
Sexyy
I
Red.
love that she's always wearing her glasses. I don't know. I feel like it's like
Yes,
glasses girl solidarity too.
exactly.
But yeah, she doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah,
Like,
that's and I study people like that. People who show up as their authentic selves in spaces where
yes,
they're told that they shouldn't are people that I
yes,
study. And those are the people that
yes,
influence
yes.
my work and inform my work. And I know like as an academic, I should be listing all of these like, you know, only academic people, but that's just not how I am. That's not where my inspiration comes from. My inspiration doesn't just come from what I'm reading in my class. Like I love Hortense Spillers, but I also like Sukiyana. So I
Right,
want to make
right.
sure that I amplify both of them because both of their work influences my work.
No, totally. And to me, those all live in the same universe. And that's kind of the spirit of this video podcast project too, is because I love watching YouTube videos. I love watching beauty tutorials. I also love my own problematic faves on YouTube, like Shira7, who's like the gold digging guru to femmes of color. So like to me, like the YouTube space, it's like femme studies a way to, I think, bridge those two things together. So that's so exciting. So what are some body rituals and or products that bring you joy?
Yes, lip gloss is very important to me. I cannot imagine living a life without lip gloss. I have lip gloss everywhere, in the car, in every room of my house. There's lip
Yes.
gloss, something to make my lips pop. Hoop earrings. You can't see my hoops now because they're small today, but that's a part of it. For me, one of my body rituals that I really enjoy is like oiling, like oils for the body. I just really enjoy that intimacy of oiling my body. And I really am, I'm a very spiritual girly. I'm one of the woo-woos. I do
I
tarot and all
love
that shit.
it.
And I love water. So taking
Mhm.
baths and showers are really important to me. And I pray
Yes.
a lot in the shower. I talk to the water. Like I'm very like in tune with water. That's like an
I
element that I'm really
love
close to.
that.
Um,
Yeah.
Another body ritual is getting my nails done. I'm not going to show y'all my nails right now because I'm missing a few, and this has never happened before. I literally have a nail appointment after this.
Okay, good.
But
Well, enjoy
yeah,
it.
yeah, so like getting my nails done, like my nails are so much so a part of me that my psychiatrist has basically prescribed that I have to get my nails done every month. She said that is a part of your routine. She said no matter what, I need you to get your nails done every month because I know that that brings you a certain level of joy.
Absolutely. I love that. Kate, it has been so great to have this conversation with you. I'm so excited to see your work continue and go out into the world. I'm sending you all the vibes for you as you dissertate and defend. I will be posted, keeping posted, following your socials to see how that goes. Where can folks find you on the social? Oh,
Yes,
hang on, let me
so
open this.
my social handle is she, they, Beyonce on everything. So TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. And you all can find me at she, they, Beyonce. All my accounts are open. So feel free to follow me and follow my work.
Wonderful. Well, have a blessed day, Kate. We'll be in touch soon. Take care.
All right. Bye.